Okay, let me start this one first. Nothing to worry. So first of all, let me thank you, the Titanium Talks, for inviting you guys and inviting me also. And yeah, this is Austin, the today's moderator of the same station, and also I've been in the crypto space for the last 3 years, working with as a moderator or different things that I need to do actually sometimes. And also, guys, today we'll discuss more about the factor, which is I can say the blockchain definitely. So they have a lot of utilities that is Factor aims to be the blockchain that adheres to the fundamental principles of the Bitcoin, but also provide some kind of advancement in the real world application, like the Bitcoin transaction in the Factor blockchain are secured by the proof of work and consciousness and so on. So yeah, we have today our speaker. First of all, Chad, could you please introduce yourself first?
Sure, it's Chad. I'm known in the spaces mostly as the Rhubarbarian. I own a company called Rhubarb Media. We've been in the blockchain space since 2016, and we're partnering with Factor on a great new initiative to. We'll probably talk more about it, but the rename, rebrand, and some new outreach stuff. So we're on the marketing, outreach, communication side, and Juan is on the technical, and he's the founder. So that's where we're at, and we've just kind of recently met over the last 2 months.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Chad. Happy to know. So, next to the scanner, could you share a bit about yourself?
Yeah, sure. My name is Juan Vargas. I am a mathematician, cryptographer, and as needed software engineer. I am the founder of the Factor project, and we're very happy to be here today.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, sir. Happy to know. So, here is Roberta, the beautiful lady. So, Roberta, could you introduce yourself first as you entered in time? I would like to know a bit about yourself, then I'll go for some questions.
Sure. Thank you. Thanks for having me today. My name's Roberta Faux. I've got a long background in cryptography. Started out at the U.S. Defense Department, working as a crypto mathematician, doing lots of hard problems, sort of focused around national security and high performance computing. Uh, After that, I've been out and about in the private sector doing embedded cryptography, a lot of small companies, and everything sort of from post quantum cryptography to homomorphic encryption, really across the board, and looking at you know the really the kind of trade offs between sort of security and risk. Um, Longtime colleague with Juan, and really, been following the project closely over the past few years. Um, Near and dear to my heart, and I've been lucky enough to, uh, have some great conversations over the years on this topic.
Okay, yeah. Thank you, Roberta. Happy to know such a beautiful person and also amazing experience that you have. So yeah, so let's back to our questions. I already said just bit about about your factor, but may I know the details about that? Is what is the factor blockchain and how does the factor's proof of work differ from the traditional POW system?
Sure, I will start with this one. You can think of Factor as a decentralized infrastructure protocol that rewards real mathematical problem solving through useful proof of work. And so the idea is to take a problem that is used as the foundation for a cryptographic system that is used today in industry and government and create a cryptocurrency secured by it. And so integer factorization is the hard problem upon which RSA is based. And so I found a way to turn that into the proof of work for our blockchain. And in addition to that, also found a way to create a service on top of that blockchain so that real users are able to use this service of integer factorization to audit the cryptographic keys and test their security, but also for researchers. for the academic community. There are several projects that require integer factorization of a very large number of integers. And so the US government spent some money on this, and a couple of European countries spend some money on this. And as we know, things get cheaper and better, more efficient market wise when you create a platform for there to be a market for it. And so that is what we have created here.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you. So I think like the factor the blockchain aims to keep alive the long tradition that are factoring by aligning like communities or to submit the integrates to solve by the factoring and offering the financial incentives to the miner that would not normally actually care about the factoring. So guys, they
Correct.
have their website. Yeah, if you want to know more, just check it out. So let's back to another question. May I know like what makes this factory unique actually compared to other blockchains? You know, there are a lot of blockchains out there. So why you are different? Why should people choose your factor?
Sure. I think I've spoken to that a little bit about the uniqueness of integer factorization. Most proof of work blockchains out there use hashing as a mechanism to secure the blockchain. And so we are different because we use something that is widely used in the proper cryptographic community, if you will. And Roberta, I don't know if you would like to add something to that, how RSA and how integer factorization is used sort of in the formal cryptographic space, and who cares about it out there, sort of from the government perspective and from the corporate side.
Or so the short answer is probably everyone. I mean, most of our digital infrastructure is secured by public keys, RSA and elliptic curves being the primary ones. So we're really talking about the backbone of security, and that is based largely, as Juan was saying, on the hard problem of being able to efficiently factor numbers, right? And the inability to do that means that we have sort of security in our financial transactions and in sort of all of the ways where cryptography is. So using I think it's a very clever approach to use the you know to use the blockchain technology as a mechanism to test, audit, secure, do cryptanalysis, fund actually the kind of the research behind how we both improve the sort of attacks on one side, and just continue to have confidence in the foundations for our cybersecurity infrastructure. So hopefully that makes some sense. I'm happy to say more if you'd like.
Okay, yeah, got it. Thank you. I really appreciate that. So, guys, yeah, there are a lot of reasons that guys you should choose their factor actually. So, I think like you can make your own research, or guys, if you have any question like who are listening today, you can ask your question later through our Binance Nothing Curious. But let me discuss more details actually. Okay, so then another question, may I know? That is, was your factor that pre-minded or pre-sold?
Yeah, so my personal philosophy on sort of blockchains in general is that fair launch is sort of the best way to launch things. And so there was no pre-mining, there was no pre-sale, pre-allocation of any kind. We launched in the public, and then it was available to everybody for everybody to mine. And so that's just sort of a personal belief of mine. Those are the kinds of projects that I like. And so when I got a chance to make my own project, I decided that that was sort of the way to go, and the sort of the image of the project has sort of improved as things have grown and the community has sort of gotten larger, and I would like to invite Shad to talk a little bit about sort of the project and how he has sort of been involved with it, because I think you only have 2 months here, and I would love for you to sort of chime in.
Sure. Yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like the thorn between two roses. You guys are super smart. I'm just the pixel pusher. So anyway, yeah, we're like I mentioned, we're marketing branding specialists, and I've been in the blockchain space since 2016. Helped out projects along the way. Just recently part of the CASPA community, and I've been working with them for 3+ years. And always looking for projects that align with our philosophy and also have real utility. And so when I was approached by someone in the Factor community, I did some research and it was pretty quick that, yeah, I'd love to come in and help. Very niche project, so not an easy one to traditionally market. So for me, that was a challenge as well to be like, yeah, I'll take this on. And then over the last couple months, Juan and I have been going back and forth. We've renamed the project, not a big change, but it makes a lot of difference from Factor N to Factor. And then the new brand is out. So that's going to be it's a small thing, but it's actually really huge, especially in today's media marketing space, crypto space, and real world space. You need to have a great image. You need to look professional, and you need to be inspiring. And so the project has a new look. It's the Factor Key, and I think it's really going to unlock a lot of cool stuff for people, miners, governments, institutions, as they look more into it. So we're excited to roll out a new communication strategy as well. So you'll see stuff on socials, some resource material, things that the community can grab and really run with. This is kind of our marketing strategy when it comes to crypto. We're very much a grassroots, organic philosophy. A lot of it has to do with, there's not always big budgets within community funded, spaces. And so we've figured out a way to really leverage the community, equip them, and then release them into the wild. And it's a slow grow, but the foundation is strong. And if you followed any of the projects, like the ones we've been part of, you'll see that, the ones that succeed are the ones that took the time, grew the community, and it was the community that really propelled things on the marketing side. No traditional marketing, very much so grassroots. So we're eager to jump in. You'll start to see some updates on socials. There's the new website rebrand, and also kind of making it more clear about how to get involved and also where to get involved. So the different aspects of Factor, it's not just a currency or a blockchain on its own. It also appeals to miners, as it's a new way to mine, and also institutions and academics. So we're hoping to create messaging that will focus on those things and provide resources to help those in that space, like Roberta and others who can, take something tangible and take it to her colleagues, whether it's a pitch deck or battle card or something. But overall, it's just the improved image and the new communication strategy is going to start to roll out.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Chad, once again. So back to with your opinion as current, like you said about you don't have any kind of pre-sale or anything else. So how do you manage fund actually for your project? Could you just share with us?
Sure. So originally, Coinbase provided me with $100,000 to develop the project to see if it was even feasible to make integer factorization the cornerstone of a proof of work blockchain. At the time, it was thought impossible that you couldn't do this. In fact, a couple of people had tried to do it before and failed. But I brought them sort of an interesting idea, and they decided, you know what, this is interesting enough that whether it succeeds or it fails, we'll give you the money, and you let us know if you were able to do it. And so the initial funding sort of came to the project that way. Since then, we have been 100% community funded. I myself have funded quite a bit of the project, but also the community has chimed in quite a bit. And so every time that the project needs something, whether it is an exchange listing, or in this case, marketing, in the case of chat, or anything else that the project may need, we just go to the community and we tell them, listen, this is the thing that we're planning to do. This is why we want to do it. And every single time they have helped the project, they have supported the project, and they have stood before decisions that we have made. And so this is a 100% community funded project, which also ties into a key point that Chad brought on, which is, there are marketing firms that charge a very large amount of money to do marketing. And so we are not at the point where we have that kind of funding. And so the community effort, the grassroots effort is very important. And so we are focusing right now on giving the community the tools they need to grow. And also, me myself, I am in a position now where the community has grown so much that I myself can no longer manage everything. And so I am now sort of beginning to delegate everything to the community so that the community is able to grow organically and manage all the things that it needs because they're getting too big for just one person to manage everything right now.
Okay, thank you for the clarification about the funding system actually. So let's talk about one of the most important part, which is security. I think like a lot of people, they are very conscious about the security system. So how does Factor ensure security and digitalization?
Again, our proof of work mechanism is integer factorization. There's besides sort of the theoretical intrinsic security that integer factorization brings, which is the reason governments and this private sector rely on it. There's a couple of things that are related to the crypto market specifically that enhances that security even further. One of them is there are currently no ASICs at all that do integer factorization. And so, in particular, it doesn't matter how many ASICs you have right now for other projects, mostly hatching, all of that hardware is completely useless to factor to mine our the factor coin. And then on the other side is that the most effective hardware that exists today to mine the coin are CPUs. And so if you have like GPU mines, it's like that's great, but that will not be enough to factor our coin. And so there is a level playing field context for the factor coin right now, where if you only have CPUs, you are able to enter the game and reap a decent reward for it. And as a matter of fact, I got a report from our miners. The most efficient hardware right now is actually a desktop CPU made by AMD, which is the best processor you could have to mine. So, like, even if you had a lot of money to invest in mining, what you would be doing is buying a lot of desktop user entry level equipment because that is the best equipment right now to mine. And so we have a level playing field for mining on one side, and then on the other side, our algorithms, are not sort of ASIC resistant at the moment, and also they provide security just by itself on the theoretical side. One thing that I am sort of beginning to look at is, companies that do ASICs that do sort of hardware work to see if in the future, maybe in the next 2 or 3 years, we are able to develop some hardware to do mining for the coin. So that's something that I am now beginning to look into, but that's a couple of years out. So, Roberta, I don't know if you want to add anything to that.
Um, I mean, maybe taking it a little bit of a different direction. I mean, I do think that we're, just, I mean, globally, we're in an environment that is, rapidly changing, and eh, and I will not make any predictions about that. But one thing we are seeing, especially here in the U.S., is a squeeze on innovation, right? And as we, and sort of as a scientist, right? Innovation is so important to so many things, right? The economy. So how do we move how do we move that forward if we're not going to be able to rely on governments, say, for, funding math research? Um, the factor N coin actually allows us to, almost crowdsource that, makes it sort of affordable and gives us sort of, new approach to how we might, at the essence, right, really do, mathematical research. So to me, and then I have to just also say, like, as we think about all of the, and we see it every day with the sort of energy costs in so many ways. So being able to actually do useful work, to tie that to research, I mean, just is so, um, sort of, forward thinking. And I really, and I think, even 3 years ago, right, Coinbase saw that when they said, this could actually be a sort of, change in tide of the way, we might approach, sort of, blockchain in general. I mean, that's a sort of grand vision, but yeah.
Okay, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for this. So, guys, nothing to worry about their security and other things. They know like how to work. They have their expert actually, so nothing to worry. And also, one thing that you mentioned, miners that secure a block in the Factron blockchain that are rewarded with their coins, which is fact. So let's talk about your token or coin actually. May I know like the details about your coin and also how can people buy this one or also like where they can trade and why this coin?
Yeah, sure. You can buy or sell the coin at the MEXC exchange currently. You can trade it there. Also, if you have coins, usually for traditional blockchains, all you can do with a coin is you can buy it or sell it. That's it. And for most sort of proof of work blockchains, that's all you can do. In for our blockchain, you can buy or sell it, or you can use it to pay for an integer factorization job. So if for your research, if for the audit of some key, some certificate of your company, of your enterprise, you could buy fact and actually place those coins as a reward for auditing your certificate, your number, or to factor it into your if you're in research. So there's a lot more that you can do with our coin than just trade it. If you would like to acquire it, MEXC is certainly the go-to exchange for it at the moment. Um, was that were there two parts to the questions? I forget the other one.
Yeah, like I asked about like the whole thing details about your the token actually like where can people buy and also in which purpose they can use it. Yeah, that's all actually like and why this token.
I think I sort of addressed sort of both of those questions. There is something that Roberta alluded to, which that's what I mentioned, which is this idea of funding research, academic research, through a blockchain like Factor. And so one thing that I think will sort of begin to happen, and Factor is sort of the first project that is really taking this on and making it a reality, is that as we move forward, there will be more projects like Factor that convert sort of research, sort of real research, real cryptographic systems, and turn them into blockchains. And so we are sort of the first ones that have emerged and are paving the way for that. And so, integer factorization is sort of the cornerstone and sort of the first uh, public key system that was developed and that has been in use for a long, long time. But I think this trend of projects taking on real research that institutions like universities and researchers can take on and mine to not only to do the research that they are mining in, but also to fund that research and other research. I think I could see a world where moving forward, math departments have working groups with computer science departments that are funded by hedge funds, where everybody wins. The academics get to do the research, the hedge funds get to make their money, And the researchers not only do research, but that research funds further research. So I can see that in the future happening.
Okay, yeah, thank you. So, guys, like they don't have any kind of pre-mining, no pre-sale, no team allocation, and also they have unlimited supply actually, but low reward for the
That's
blocked
not
discovery.
that. So let me address that, because that is not
Okay,
true.
okay,
There's sort of
okay.
a there's a misconception there, and it's like if more people understood calculus, we wouldn't have to have this conversation. But most people don't, so I have to talk about this, right? So, right there's a difference between unlimited and infinite supply, and so let me address it. So the way the factor blockchain works is that you have a force that grows the supply, and you have a second force with which shrinks the supply. So you have two forces at play. One of them grows the supply, the other one shrinks the supply. And so when the shrinking force is greater, the supply of the coin gets smaller. And when the growing force is bigger, then the total number of coins goes up. And so specifically, mining rewards miners for mining coins, for mining the blocks and securing the blockchain. And so every time a miner gets paid, then new coins are added to the system. So that's the force that grows the supply. Now, there is another force which has to do with utility, namely, to when you place a reward, when you place a bounty on an integer, the solvers who are claiming that reward have to burn a certain amount of coins. I think right now it's like 1 cent or 0.01 coins. You have to burn that amount of coins to claim the bounty. And there are security reasons for that have to do with avoiding spam in the system. And so, the moment that we reach a point where the number of requests per blocks is much higher than the amount of rewards per block, then what you will have is a block that will have shrunk the money supply of the blockchain. And so it's not unlimited, it's not infinite, it's dynamic. There's a force that grows it, there is a force that shrinks it, and it is a balance. And the more utility the blockchain has, the more it shrinks. So it's sort of built that way.
Okay, thank you for the clarification. Got it, got it. Thank you once again. And also, here's the last question from mine. Then I'll go for some question from live. So, people, just get ready. If you have any question and queries, you can ask here. I will take your question now. So, could you share some of your future development plan within this year or after that?
Yes, sure. So this year, for the remainder of the year, the thing that we are mostly focused on is our community. How to empower our community to communicate who we are, what we do, and how to use blockchain to communicate
Did we lose one?
Scanner, are you there? I think like he has some kind of problem. Chad, you can continue if like you have any plan about that.
Sure. I mean, Juan mentioned this about community development, and it might sound like a soft part of the project, but it's actually the major foundation for most companies is developing an ethos around the product, around the service, and so we're going to work hard on not just developing the community, but putting them to work and providing opportunities for them to do what they do best. So that's kind of my job, or my part of my role is to foster that, and then to kind of like at every point step away as the community takes on these new initiatives. So it's going to be a huge part of all forms of the project. So you're going to see hopefully more miners mining. We're really hoping to see the academic world start to take a look and to get involved. You'll hopefully see case studies from like real institutions and academics and So these things in developing the community, it's really investing in the people, and that's what good companies do. And so we're going to focus a lot on that, or help Juan and Roberta and others that are part of the community to grow that. And with that, I think you're going to see, new services, new products, hopefully new applications, some integrations, and start to hear stories. I think the media will start to pick it up. I like what you said, Roberta, about the lack of kind of like funding around science and these kind of things. We have the capability, we have the capacity to take this on. I think the community has power. And so we don't have to always rely on government funding or other, institutional or VC funding. I think the community is powerful and can do stuff, and we can do it even cheaper. And so I think we're going to see projects move forward. And I know Juan is just an idea machine, so I'm sure there'll be more stuff coming from his brain. And and our goal is to be that grassroots organic outreach, provider, and supplying resources, and really creating a narrative that has been kind of hidden a little bit, and bringing that forward so that everyone, all the user groups, all the markets can understand where they can plug into Factor. And so that's our goal.
Okay, yeah, wish you good luck for the future, definitely. So I have collected some questions. Let me take them. Like people are asking some good question actually, and also guys, like you can follow our Titanium, and if you want to get their website, just follow our social, and also they have their official like Telegram, Twitter. You can check this out, no problem. Okay, so let me take the first question. Okay. How can I get rewards as a miner?
The question is how to get rewards as a miner?
Yes.
Yes. I I I I wish Juan was here, but I mean, I think that the short answer is, by mining, right?
Mining.
You are rewarded with the coins. Um, I think it's kind of that simple.
Yeah, it's the same as Bitcoin and other
Yeah.
proof of work. If you prove the work, you get rewarded. The beauty about Factor is that it's beyond just mining that you gain those rewards. So, but Juan's back; he can speak to it. Maybe you want to
Hello.
repeat the question.
Yes. What did I miss?
We're not totally off the rails, Juan. We're okay.
Okay. Good.
She asked
Well,
about
Yes.
mining. How do miners get rewards? And so we just said, basically it's the same as proof of work.
yeah,
You mine, you get rewards, but maybe you can expand on the
sure.
other ways that
Yeah, sure.
miners can get rewards.
Sure. So a couple of things. So it's a proof of work blockchain. So in that regard, it works the same as sort of Bitcoin and the others. And so for every block, you are rewarded a certain amount of coins. I think right now difficulty is around 465 digits. That's how long the numbers have to be that you have to factor to win a block. The amount of coins right now, I think, is about 16 or 17 coins per block. The target time for the blocks are 30 minutes. Bitcoin is 10 minutes. So the reason why for Factor the target block time is 30 minutes is because factoring requires a significant amount of sort of processing and setup that have a lot to do with polynomials and some fancy math. And so you sort of have to, if you want the blocks to reach numbers of interesting sizes for the mining part, you do sort of need to allow for a lot of time for that kind of work to get done, to be able to efficiently get polynomials and parameters to factor. And so there's sort of a technical world in and of itself there, which I won't go into, but that's essentially the reason why. It's sort of 3 times the target time of Bitcoin. We have a pool, which is called the Factory, and they have their own Discord channel. If you want to mine, you can sort of head to our Discord, and you will be able to get the link for the Factory there. And works just as any other pool. There's a lot of other people mining, and you mine together. And according to how much computational power you provide to the pool, you get paid in proportion to that. And so, in that regard, in the pool and also the mining solo, if you will, in those two regards, we work exactly the same as just any other proof of work blockchain.
Okay, yeah, thank you. Actually, I'm taking some question from like the Binance Live actually.
Yeah.
So this yeah. So there is another question from Yamchi asked about how is mining in Factor different from mining in Bitcoin?
Again, so the algorithm is different, but yeah, that's about it really. And so, for example, if you go to the factory and you download the software there, which are just Docker containers, so you don't really have to worry about the fancy math and all the parameters and all that stuff. All of that is containerized in a container, in a Docker container. So you can just run it, give it your credentials, and it will sort of do the right thing. So again, in that regard, it's sort of very similar to Bitcoin. Everything, like the distribution system, works exactly the same. It's just that the mining itself has a different algorithm.
Okay, got it. Thank you. So let me take another good question. I'm just looking for some good one. Okay, one person asked about, may I know some of your marketing strategies that you have taken for your Factor?
Well, until now, we really haven't done much marketing, and so this is one of the feedbacks that I was getting. That just recently I realized people are totally right. Well, we choose focus on marketing, which is just communication really. We should focus on communicating effectively the value of the project and communicating with the community and giving them the information they need so that they are also able to communicate to others about our project. And I think Chad can really speak to that.
Yeah, I think we mentioned it before, but obviously the community is huge. But we're really trying to present Factor in a new light as it relates to, because we hear you asked the question about what's the difference, and a lot of the initial answer is not much. It's the same. It's proof of work. Miners mine, they get rewards, but really it's mining that really matters. It's a useful proof of work, and I think that's a part of the differentiator that we hope to present, is that we're not, Factor isn't just another coin or another mining proof of work. There's use there, and so we hopefully as we move forward, creating messaging and resources that will share that to people, that hey, this is mining that matters. It's also tapping into the academics and the institutions and those that will need the service, and part of the difference that you'll start to see, and this is with a lot of projects, that initially they're just mining and they're getting rewards. But once services start to jump on board, those fees and go to the miners. So you're going to start to see an increase in the fee market due to hopefully our job and the community's job of amplifying Factor within the academic world, within institutions, with even banks and all sorts of corporate entities.
Yep.
Once they start to use the system, the technology, we're going to move from, I mean, there'll still hopefully always be rewards for mining, but you'll probably see a greater reward from the use case. And so right now, most people don't use cryptocurrency like you think, and the adoption is really not there yet. So anything that you see is like, wow, there's so much adoption, and it's not there yet, because the real world hasn't really embraced it. You're starting to see a little bit with that, with the Bitcoin narrative, but I think people don't realize that the small wedge in the pie that they're receiving from rewards, that bigger wedge is yet to be realized, and that's where the fee market comes in. So I think that's part of the both your first question, the difference in mining, but also what are we doing with the marketing strategy, is we're going to amplify those narratives within the community and really start to hopefully see real world use and use cases pop up, and that's gonna hopefully energize the community, energize the market, and you'll start to see the value of Factor increase.
And there is something that I want to add to that from the technical side. The bandwidth per block on our blockchain is also 8 times that of Bitcoin. and it's there's sort of a reasoning for that. And so the amount of transactions that you can include in one block in the factor blockchain is 8 times bigger than that of what you can include in a Bitcoin block, and it is precisely to account for that period of time when there will be a very high utility, where what we want to do is provide enough space for we to include all of the requests that will be coming in for integer factorization and key audits and researchers using the system, and also legitimate transactions of people that want to move their coins from one wallet to another. And so that already has been sort of built in and accounted for in the system.
Okay, thank you for this one. So let me take another last question from David. Actually asked about why does decentralization matters when testing global cryptographic security?
Why does it matter? There is a phrase in the sort of cryptographic circles of we kind of use to make fun of certain things, which is security by obscurity, which doesn't work. So if you have a cryptographic system and you want to make sure that it is safe and that it is resistant against attack, then what you do is you publish it and you make it public and you let everybody have a go at it. And so if everyone tries to crack it and nobody's able to, then that is what sort of starts to give you assurance that, okay, maybe you are onto something until you can prove things formally, if you will. And so being able to make everything public so that the public may scrutinize this, so that experts can also take a look at it. And so this level of transparency is what gives you sort of that sense that, okay, until we're able to prove something, right, then this is sort of the way to go. And so in cryptographic circles, this is one of the things that we do all the time. Every time we come up with a new scheme, what we do is we make it public and we wait. And so I can give you sort of a perfect example of this. Microsoft in 2000 and I don't know, early 2000s, they proposed an elliptic curve method to create sort of a new public key system, if you will, a new cryptographic system. And they put it out there. And it withstood scrutiny for like 20, 25 years until publicly it was broken like 2 years ago. And so, if Microsoft had not done that and would have just said, hey, we have a proprietary system that nobody can break, they would have never found out that, no, actually, this thing is broken. And so this is the reason why we are very much in favor of being transparent and making things public. Because once we put things out there, if you really want to find out if it's broken or not, the only way to do it is to audit it and put it in a public blockchain and let everybody have a crack at it.
Yeah, this is why open source is so
Yes.
critical in the blockchain space. And centralized entities don't want to show their cards. They don't want to put something out there because it's about competition for them. But if you're trying to solve problems, open source is the way to go. Test, open source. I mean, you can have some closed source initially, but the best systems, the best products, especially in the crypto space, have been open source and decentralized. So it's the way to go.
And there is something to speak to resilience in regards to the distributed sense as well, where if you have a system that is centralized and anything happens to the power, to the internet, or anything surrounding sort of the central power, it's like your system goes down. Whereas if you are decentralized and you're spread all over the world, if one particular place something happens and you lose connection or whatever happens, the system is still up because there's a resiliency in being a distributed system and being decentralized.
Okay, guys, thank you for answering all of my questions, also from the live one. And one last, we have just few minutes in our hands, nothing to worry. The one last one, where can people get your all updates? And also, do you have any kind of tutorial videos for the newbies or non-crypto users? Like, how can they learn?
Yes, so you can visit our Twitter page. We will be posting all our updates, especially for coming videos. about how to mine and how to use the coin. Our X account is Project Factor. You can find us there. You can also find us at projectfactor.io. That is our website. And you can also find us on YouTube at Project Factor as well. And so in the coming weeks, we will be having a lot of videos there about our project and mining and how things work. So the best thing you can do right now is to go to X and follow us on the Project Factor handle. And then we'll slowly be rolling out a lot of information, a lot of content for you guys. Chad?
Yeah, you said it. I mean, it's the foundations being set. We're going to start to roll things out, over the next months. So I would say definitely it's good to get involved, get connected, watch the space, and hopefully get involved. And that's the big part. Don't just watch. Join the Discord, see where you can get plugged in. And so lots of opportunity to get in on an exciting new journey.
Yes, that's true. So, guys, if you want to know more details, like you have to connect with their, like Telegram, Twitter, especially X, actually. I can see like they're doing a lot of conversation, daily discussion about this, and also, guys, if you have any question, you can ask directly there. So,
Yeah.
thank you, Chad and Skrunner, for having here for your time. Anything else that you want to say for our community, or any last closing remarks?
Yeah, we are beginning to grow as a community. We invite you to be part of it, and so follow us on X, and yeah, be part of the community.
Okay,
That's it.
definitely. Thank you, both of you, like all of you actually, for having here, for your coming, and thank you, Crypto Titanium, for this space, and have a nice day. Wish you good luck for the future. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. All right, thank you.
Thanks
See
so
you guys.
much. Bye now.
Yeah,
Cheers.
bye.